Hello everybody, Dr. Mark here, and today I want to talk to you all about how often your puppy should be titer tested before vaccinations. Adverse vaccine reactions are a lot less common than most people realize but are probably a lot more common than are reported. If you have a small dog and he goes in for a vaccine and is just tired for the next few days, you probably will not even call your vet to complain. The vet, of course, is not going to call the vaccine manufacturer and report an adverse reaction. If he starts vomiting, has problems breathing, or swells up while still at the clinic, it may or may not be reported. There are several things you can do to avoid vaccine reactions if you have a tiny dog. If you are concerned about a vaccination reaction or if your dog has had a reaction in the past, ask your veterinarian to give a smaller dose, like 1/2 of the vaccine. Unfortunately, the veterinary associations have stated that a half dose does not stimulate adequate immunity, and if the puppy becomes sick later, the veterinarian would be legally responsible for the expenses. Since vaccine doses are not calculated on a milligram per kilogram basis, like other drugs, researchers think that the whole dose of antigen is necessary to stimulate immunity. A very small pilot study by Dr. Jean Dodds from Hemapet showed that even a half dose of the vaccine stimulated adequate immunity in small dogs as measured by a titer test at 4 weeks and 6 months. However, this research needs to be done with a larger amount of small dogs and published in a reputable journal to gain acceptance by practicing veterinarians. Many veterinarians, therefore, will not split doses and will continue to refuse until the veterinary associations back them up. The vaccine manufacturers do not support any of this research since they are going to end up selling fewer vaccines. You can refuse to get more than one vaccination each week. Not all veterinarians will have the core vaccines as monovalents, as most companies only sell multi-dose vaccines with distemper, parvo, hepatitis, and parainfluenza all in the same vial. If you can get the core vaccine separately, you should do so. Get a parvo vaccine in 1 week, a distemper vaccine the next week, and an infectious hepatitis dose the next visit. If you have to give your dog the DHLPP vaccine and he or she is not even exposed to leptospirosis, do not give the L portion of that vaccine. The leptospirosis portion of the vaccine is more likely to cause a reaction or other side effects. You can ask your veterinarian to give your dog an injection of Benadryl before the vaccination. This antihistamine is often used when a puppy has a hypersensitivity reaction, and sometimes giving it first will prevent any reactions. You can also have your puppy's titers tested against the viruses before vaccinating. A titer test is a blood test that tells us whether a dog has protection against the disease he has been vaccinated against. If the puppy is still protected by antibodies from her mother, the vaccine will not work. The protocol for testing the titer of tiny dogs was developed to monitor the maternal antibody levels that have been absorbed through the milk. Unless a puppy started receiving vaccines when still at the breeders, he or she can be tested when he gets home, in about another month, and then receive the final vaccines at 16 and 20 weeks. If you choose not to have your puppy vaccinated at 16 weeks, there is no way anyone cannot guarantee that she will get sick in the next year. As she gets older, however, the chance of developing parvo is much less anyway. Most dogs are safe after 6 months, and even in unvaccinated dogs over a year old, only 3.45% of them developed parvo. In order to limit contact to the infectious agents that can make her sick, you should avoid rest areas. Even if you live in an area where there is little parvo, rest areas can be heavily contaminated because of dogs traveling from other areas. Avoid pet superstores too. Some stores that allow pets to visit are less likely to be a problem, but pet superstores have higher pet traffic and she is more likely to come in contact with parvo and distemper. Stay away from dog parks or trails. This is difficult for some people to avoid as that is the only area to exercise their dogs. If you take her on a trail that few dogs use, this is less of a problem, but if you live in an urban area, I would also avoid parks. Finally, just avoid any area where a large number of dogs defecate. This is sometimes impossible in a big city where you have to take your dog for a walk, but do your best. When a small dog that is more prone to vaccination reactions is 1 year old, he will need boosters to his vaccines. You can have him vaccinated at that time or have him titer tested. Thank you for watching. I am a veterinarian with over 40 years of experience with dogs and cats, exotics, poultry, and livestock of many types. If the information in this video was helpful, please give it a like so that it can reach more viewers, and if you know any other dog families that need to know this information, please share it. Be sure to subscribe too if you want more information on dog health issues. If you prefer to read this information, you can find my articles at pethelpful.com. If you have any health problems with your dog and need some information, please contact me at my Ask a Vet column at pethelpful.com.